Thanks, Rick. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Tremendous weekend for the Bears. That first half was about as well executed of a football game as I've seen in a long time. Offense was clicking on all cylinders, converting third downs, explosive plays, taking care of the football. Defense getting off the field on third down, creating turnovers. Special teams were dynamic as well. All in all, good day for the Bears. We wish UT Martin and Coach Simpson the best of luck the rest of the year. Really respect him and his staff. We will miss that game. No rest for the weary. On to a big-time game against the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Obviously, we're all well aware of the connections there. Should be an exciting week to prepare for a really, really good football team. They're extremely well coached. They have skilled players all over the place that are dynamic, that make plays, big up front on both sides of the ball. Should be a good test for the Bears.
Coach, as far as last week against Tennessee Martin, I know it's like maybe asking you to pick between your kids, but you say it was a complete game. Who maybe, when you get through the film, had the more complete game, the offense or the defense? Because both seem to be locked in.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I think we were well constructed in equal rights. You know what I mean? I don't think there was one side that was better than the other. That's why we call it a team. You know, it's the best team game that there is, and it takes all 22 on the field, offense, defense, then a few additional for special teams. So however many that comes out to. But again, I challenged them all week to recover from some of our shortcomings from the SMU game and really focus on those things like the third down conversions. That was a huge point of emphasis, and we were able to get that done. I was really proud of the offensive and defensive staff as well as the players for executing the game plan.
How good is it going into this conference opener to have such a complete win, confidence-wise, believing the game plan-wise, just as you step into this next level?
Yeah, I think it's really helpful. I think that the locker room is exactly where we wanted it to be at this time. In-house, we talked about if we can get to 2-2 going into conference play, you feel pretty good. And I think it worked out really in our favor because when you kind of looked at how it was set, get blown out by USC, learn a ton about just how to take a loss as a team and overcome some adversity, come back with a big win on the road versus Marshall. Had moments in the SMU game, again, a ton of learnable moments, and then teachable moments, and then be able to come back in with a really complete game versus UT Martin. I love where the locker room's at. I love where the focus is at. Our team understands kind of what it takes to win and all the preparation that goes into it.
Coach, you mentioned third down. You said that you guys have lots of improvements there. Went 5 for 10 in this game compared to over 12 against SMU. What changed for you specifically in that down?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was execution. I think the players made plays when their number was called. Jacob was seeing the field really, really well, and he was also using his legs. I think when Jacob is able to escape the pocket and, you know, if his eyes are downfield and he doesn't see what he likes, he can use his legs and run. I think it'll be a good measuring stick for kind of where we're at. They're an elite football team. They've earned that right. Year in and year out, they go to bowl games. They win bowl games. They've competed for the conference championship basically since we left there. So it will be a really good battle and a really good contest to kind of see where we're at.
Coach, it's kind of a dream come true for you to be able to play against your alma mater like this and come back. And what's this week going to be like for you when you hear from people, or can you give us a little look into that?
Yeah, it's been fun hearing from old teammates that are going to come to the game, and got a ton of family coming. And I'll go on and get this out of the way. I have 2 degrees from Western Kentucky. I'm a Bowling Green native. I love everything about Western Kentucky. I'm where my feet are at. I'm a Missouri State Bear. Our players know that and understand that we're going to go try to win the game. All the feel-good stories are great for the media, for the fans. We're locked in that locker room. Our players know that they're going to get the very best from me and my staff, and we're going to go out and try to compete.
So if you beat them, is your mom and dad going to talk to you? If you beat them, is mom and dad going to talk to you?
Listen, I'm a faith family football guy in that order. I don't think they'll have any trouble cheering and happy cheering if we do get to celebrate a win. There's no doubt they'll be decked out, and it's a blackout, so they'll be decked out in black and maroon, and they will be cheering as hard as they possibly can because we're Missouri State Bears.
Coach, will the O-line stay the same against Western Kentucky, or will there be changes made to them?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, throughout that game, we saw a lot of different pieces in different places. I think you'll continue to see more of that. Kind of go with the hot hand, see who's playing well at what position, see who's meshing well, and we'll continue to work that throughout the week because we try to create those situations in practice to where in the game everybody feels comfortable at multiple positions, and with whatever faces or numbers are in there, execute the game plan.
We like what this Western Kentucky team, what is it that they do especially well, do you think?
Man, I think Tyson does a really good job with the spacing of the offense. He's a coordinator, he's a play caller that uses the entire field. Really, really good route concepts. And they've got a good running game. You know, good backs that can hit home run runs, good O-line that does a good job of protecting. He knows how to create issues for defense. He'll overload zones with 4 to a side, 5 to a side. He's been coaching for a long time, and he's been really successful. So we got our hands full.
They look a little bit, in watching film last night, offensively more similar to SMU. Obviously, hard to compare the athletes from one to the other, but up tempo, and you know, Maverick has definitely got the keys to the car. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And everything they do is a lot like us. It goes through the quarterback. They have a ton of trust in their quarterback, and they let their trigger man make decisions. And Maverick is totally capable. That kind of trust with an offensive staff and your quarterback allows you to do more. One thing I think that they do a really nice job of is not just tempoing to tempo. I think they do a nice job of changing and varying their tempos and cadences to keep defenses off balance. Again, tip of the cap to them for that, because that means they're well coached and they can handle it as players. They have smart players that know how to get in and out of those types of tempo situations. So we got to be prepared for that on defense.
Coach, Christian Gardner has made a pretty good impact in just 4 games. Touchdown against USC, big catch down the sideline. I mean, what do you say about a freshman that comes into a receiver room that's a pretty veteran-led presence?
He's a tremendous talent. We did the home visit down there with 3 coaches for a reason. We knew we had to close the deal there. And the one thing that we've been able to do here is recruit really high-level talent. And he is a special young man. He's big and strong. The one thing you see that you don't normally get from young players is his ability to run through contact. I don't mean run through tackles. I mean DBs get their hands on him, and he doesn't flinch. You don't see any change of movement, and he's able to run down the field and separate. And then obviously when the ball comes to him, he's got great ball skills, soft hands. He's a really phenomenal player.
Coach, when you look back to week 1, and obviously the loss to USC, and then to be able to right the ship and get back to 500 heading into conference play here, where does that rank for you in terms of, you know, in your young head coaching career, in terms of challenges that you had and to get to this point?
Really, really challenging. And I told the guys last week in the locker room, I'm really proud of our resolve. We have a football team that has great veteran leadership, and we have guys that chose to stay here because, you know, they believe in what we're building, they believe in our processes, they believe in our coaching staff. And then you've got a bunch of great additions that you're about to hear from shortly that have heard about the Missouri State brand and have heard how the players are treated within these walls. And I think one thing that's a staple of our staff is development and putting young men in position to make plays and achieve their dreams in the NFL. You can get whatever you want right here at Missouri State, and there's no better time to be a Missouri State Bear, I can promise you that.
What do you think of Jacardia getting some reps yesterday?
It was awesome, man. Extremely hard, man. No one gets to see that, but he's a weight room warrior. He's a leader on the team. He's a guy that really enjoyed practice, and it's showing up in a big way, and I am so, so proud that he's gotten this opportunity.
Coach, there's going to be a lot of conversations about all of these touch points, and you mentioned a few of them between you and the Western Kentucky program, between your staff and players in the Western Kentucky program. So I'm curious, who had the better career on the field, you, Ace, or Max, as far as coaches that played at Western Kentucky?
Ooh, man, being the competitor that I am, and I talk about this with Ace all the time, he was not an inside run type of back. He did not enjoy the between the tackles type runs, but he scored a bunch of touchdowns. I mean,
27 in one season.
he scored a bunch. And we were talking about the Marshall game, and we actually beat them 60-3. I was a coach. He was a player. He had like 4 TDs at half, and Jeff Braun benched him at halftime, and he was just livid. I mean, just furious. And Jeff goes, dude, what more do you want to do, son? Like, you know, you just had 4 touchdowns. You're prepping you for what's to come. And so I would say that's, you know, use your imagination on that.
Coach, you played a lot of players the other day. Was there some guys on tape that stood out that aren't starters, some of the backups that got a lot of playing time that really caught your eye?
Yeah, that's one of the best parts about being able to perform in football games like that. When you handle your business, you know you get done what you wanted to get done. And, I think there were a few guys. Braxton Starnes on defense did a nice job. He's a young freshman that got his first little bit of playing time. King ran the ball well. I think it was really good for a lot of those guys to just get their feet wet, get comfortable, and hopefully we can get into some of those situations again down the road.
Second game back for James Blackstrain, gets his first touchdown reception of the year. What do you see from him, and what does it mean to have him in this offense and add another one?
Yeah, the best thing about James, he is an absolute leader in that locker room. And again, this is another thing that you don't get to see, unfortunately. Even when he was hurt, he was leading stretch. He was doing everything on the sideline that he possibly could to stay prepared to play. He is as well-rounded of a football player and individual that I've had the pleasure of coaching. We had no doubt that when he got the green light, he was going to be prepared and ready to go. And he's just a shot of life for our whole entire football team. I know he's an offensive player, but he brings a shot of life to – there was a cool video that Reagan put out, I think, of coming out of the tunnel, and you saw him pumping up Tristan Gardner. And just those types of relationships. You talk about competitive excellence, and you talk about guys that are able to make the guys around them better and raise their level of play. That's James Blackstrain.
Coach, UT Martin, 4 games prior, 4 straight years, all one-score games, 2-2, and then obviously much different ball game this time around. So I think it's easy probably for fans to see that and see that as like an easy way to see growth. How will you measure growth in the conference schedule?
Luckily for us, you've got about 5 days, and we can kind of get a good gauge on where we sit in regards to playing against one of the top dogs in the conference. Again, Western Kentucky has a really nice program. They do a great job. They have great resources. They put the things around their players they need to be successful, and it's come to fruition on the field. You don't get those bowl championships. You don't get to hoist those conference championship trophies without those types of things. So I think as we continue to move through the conference, we'll be able to see, areas that we've been able to excel in and things that need work.
Coach, overall, would you say it's too early to say what the identity of this team is? Or do you think 4 weeks in, you know who you are?
I think we got some serious grit. I don't know if I need to know more of an identity than that. I think we have grit, resolve, we find a way to win football games, and it's a fun, exciting locker room. We've got men in that locker room that believe in themselves and each other and exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. And I said it post-game, the power of a made-up mind is a big deal. We have that.
Coach, other than grit, what do you think is the biggest positive you have going into the next game?
The biggest positive besides grit, I think we have a football team that's willing to prepare to win. I've said it over and over, they enjoy practice. They like the work. Sometimes when you have a team that's had some success, you don't really get those tough, hard-nosed practices that you need during the week. This is not that group. I think this group will come out tomorrow for our Toughness Tuesday, be ready to go, understand what's ahead of us. And again, the nice thing about that, the question you asked, is all of our goals are right in front of us. There's nothing that we cannot achieve this year, and it starts with WKU.